You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife, Diana, never gets any rest. Diana! Diana! Oh, what is it now? Diana, they have invoked your name and memory again. You must return to the material plane. Oh, for goodness sake, who is it this time? Oh, I think you know who it is. Oh, for goodness sake, it isn't that darling silly son of mine, is it, and that harridan that he married? Yes, I'm afraid that it is Diana. Once again, she is invoking your memory. She talks of channeling your spirit, and thus you are duty-bound to leave this place for a while. Oh, I never get any rest. That, of course, is the scene as Diana seeks to rest as a consequence of her tragic demise on the 31st of August 1997. She cannot rest in peace as a consequence of the Prince of Pink Pancakes and, moreover, his handler repeatedly bringing her back to life in some shape or form. Now, it's not the case that Diana is going to be forgotten, even though it is nearly 26 years since she passed away. Many people remember her, and she's still referenced repeatedly in the press. But if she thought that she was going to be able to rest in peace, well, she had another thing coming, because as a consequence, of course, of the behaviour of Harry's wife, and also Harry, in keep bringing her up. Yes. In the Shitflick series in December 2022, Harry stated, "So much of what Harry's wife is and how she is, so similar to my mum. She has the same compassion, she has the same empathy, she has the same confidence, she has this warmth about her." Of course, completely mistaken in his description of his wife, because he's been duped by her behaviours, but he has to draw the comparison. Doubtless, Diana, appearing as some kind of spirit, is there banging her perfectly manicured fists against the spectral wall, screaming at Harry, "Oh, shut up, you idiot, and wake up and see that she's fleecing you. Darling boy, please wake up." As once again, she is wrenched from her resting place. But this is an habitual behaviour of Harry, and particularly Harry's wife, so that Diana just can't get any rest. In the Oprah interview, they suggested that they were carrying on her story, the part about freedom and escape, and they were going to give her story a happy ending, not only condescending, but ridiculous too. Harry's wife brought up Diana's 1995 interview with Martin Bashir in the same interview with Oprah. Harry said, "When I'm talking about history repeating itself, I'm talking about my mother." Harry's wife, you will recall, wore the same brand of perfume worn by Diana, Princess of Wales, when Harry's wife attended a date with Harry. Repeatedly throughout Spare, Harry made mention of his mother. I think I remarked at the time that he would have been better off writing a separate book about how he felt about the loss of his mother and how it's affected him, rather than referencing her every 3 pages amongst everything else that was going on in Wah. Again and again she was brought up. We understand, of course, that his loss of his mother has impacted upon him tremendously. People get it. He doesn't need to keep mentioning it. But he does. And the reason that he does so is as a consequence of the trauma that he's experienced, but the fact that he's repeatedly encouraged by Harry's wife to do so. If you look pre-Harry's wife, Harry didn't make a lot of mentioning of his mother. It wasn't that he'd forgotten about her, of course not. But he remembered her privately. And then along comes Harry's wife. "It's good to talk about these things, Harry." Doubtless encouraging him through therapy and self-help and awareness that he must spend time repeatedly talking about his loss. That's why we saw the unedifying experience of him repeatedly making mention of his mother in Wah, talking about how his mental health has been affected when he did the live stream with Dr. Gabor Mate. The fact is, he keeps banging on about his mother because Harry's wife repeatedly triangulates him with his dead mother for the purpose of assertion of control. And of course, he reached a new low when talking about rubbing Elizabeth Arden cream, which reminded him of his mother, into his frozen todger. Pre-Harry's wife, Harry, would never have made mention of that. Post-Harry's wife, Harry, does because he's been encouraged to bear all. He thinks, because he's been persuaded of this by Harry's wife, that it's good for him to talk. Everybody else wishes he'd shut up, not least his poor deceased mother. But furthermore, the fact is, Harry's wife does this not because she cares. She does it because she believes that she's Diana 2.0. As I've explained elsewhere, she engages in the Diana duplication as a particularly sick and cruel form of manipulation over her husband. By acting in the way that his mother did, by channeling her memory, she taps into a particularly visceral, or in her case, she would call it guttural, response from Harry with regard to this particular vulnerability. It makes him easier to control, and by not giving his deceased mother any rest, she repeatedly triangulates and triangulates and triangulates. She wears the bracelet that Diana wore. There are many, many instances of her emulating the dress style of Diana. For instance, there is a Reader's Digest article that provides 34 examples of where she's mirrored Diana's style and dress. She's attempted to mimic Diana's humanitarian work, although for her, she has just generated bananitarian work. And there are many, many other instances of her doing this, which of course has culminated in the recent issuing of a quote, which once again means that Diana isn't getting any rest. Following the car chase that never was, Harry's wife spokesperson, Ashley Hansen, insisted what happened was very real and very scary, and stated, considering the Duke's family history, yep, let's wake Diana up from her rest again. One would think nothing of the couple to believe this was a PR stunt. That's abhorrent. Yes, not allowing Diana her rest, triangulating once again, and making mention of suggesting, if you think this is a PR stunt, you're awful human beings. Well, in actual fact, we know that it was a PR stunt because it's occasioned by a narcissist, and one that just simply will never let Diana, Princess of Wales, rest in peace because of her own self-obsessed need to pursue the prime aims, to get that attention and that fuel, to control people by repeatedly bringing up Diana. And this time it's done by proxy through the spokesperson. Every single instance where it can be done, Harry's wife utilises Diana, and Harry does so as well, of course, aided, abetted, and encouraged by Harry's wife. Diana simply cannot get any rest, and once again, they resurrect her memory, not to laud her, not to praise her, but simply to use her, and use her in cheap and despicable circumstances. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.